Unbelievable.
All right,
Wow.
so cold open this week. Nature time with Matthew Steelman.
Nature walk.
Nature boy
Nature's one of the
Matthew
neatest
Steelman.
things. What a beaut.
See, now I need to take it up a level, and I need to set up my room outside, and then like slow reveal in the middle of the podcast, like lift the walls.
Full desk. That or just like set up in front of a green screen, but your green screen background is your room. And then like at the end of the episode it falls away and you're just somewhere else.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Man, that was good. That was good. The outtakes for this are phenomenal.
I believe that's the best content we've ever filmed, boys. I don't think we're going to top it.
Well, we got to hang out. When we meet up. If we ever meet up and do this show in person, then that'll be the best content we've ever filmed.
Oh yeah. But if this just became a thing where like every week I record in a different spot.
You would get so sick of that. You
Yeah.
would hate it. You would get so sick of that.
Yeah.
Like
1 week he moves an inch further to the left. Hey, I'm in a different spot.
Oh, look at that. I just pointed the camera in a different direction.
There's a burb in the background. He's flying up in the clouds. That's crazy. My brain's about to go all crazy all night. Anyways, folks, welcome to the Fake Racers podcast on location this week.
on location.
Yep, here at Bristol Dirt.
Mhm.
In case you couldn't recognize it.
Here at Bristol Dirt, aka somewhere in California.
This is really good.
Down below, if you're watching, that's of course Matthew Steelman, the man with the plan.
The man with the plants.
Man with the plants. That's right. Davey Hazard has replaced his Antonio Ruiz flag with a Jimmy Johnson flag.
Correct.
And I'm still in Ann Arbor for another couple months. So hey, here we are.
Hey, but you're dressing. You're
I'm
looking
looking
nice.
dapper.
Styling right now.
I was feeling so good because we were gonna record this Monday night. I know we're late for all the 10 people that watch and listen. So thank you again. We appreciate you so much. It's more of an indictment on us than it is on you.
We're not late. We had insider information about an announcement that was made today.
Yes, that's why. Not because we were all collectively very tired and did not want to record on Monday.
Correct.
You never sacrifice the craft. Speaking of, we'll have to talk about it next week. But Davey Hazard to my left. I pointed
We
to
did this part already.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know.
But you know what we haven't done yet? We haven't talked about.
Have we introduced the bird that keeps flying?
I know. I saw its shadow. I was like, damn.
It's a big bird.
Joe, I know. Joe, we have a long show ahead of us. We can't point out every bird. I'm just letting you know.
All right. Well, Christopher Bell won. That's cool, I guess. Let every
the dirt guy won. The dirt guy won.
The dirt guy's finished in the top 5.
The dirt guy won.
Fox
was
really happy about that, huh?
Yeah, they really wanted to let us know that the dirt guy won. It's a dirt race now that the dirt guy won. It wasn't when they didn't, but now it is.
JGR's first win of the year as well.
It's like Christopher. I think I heard a stat like Christopher Bell's got like their only top 5 or some crazy thing like that. It's nuts.
They're a little off.
Yeah, having a sneaky bad year. Didn't even.
Christopher
really
Bell isn't though. He's the points leader.
Oh yeah.
So like, he's fine.
Christopher Bell's fine. I think like some of the other Gibbs guys have been like Denny hasn't been running too bad, but he also hasn't finished anywhere. Martin Truex Jr. has been absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
And Ty Gibbs
is a rookie.
So
Yeah.
give him that one.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting too with I mean we've talked about it. Now we're 8 races in. I'm bad at counting. 8 or 9 races in, and Chevy's just been so dominant as a whole. So figure they've taken up a lot of those top 10 spots in the first place. Dirt Bristol got better this year, right? I think people collectively were saying this was the best one. Don't know if that really means anything. Sounds like there's a lot of uncertainty if this event returns next year.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of push to try and get it to go to a quote-unquote real dirt track, whether that makes anything better or not. That just kind of seems like the generic response that I've been hearing since this was announced. So who knows if that's like got any momentum behind it. It did get better this year as well. But one thing I noticed was it's really like I feel like the racing was pretty good, mixing it up in the middle of the pack, but it seemed like the leader never really got challenged much. Um, we didn't see too many green flag passes for the lead, which I mean that doesn't determine if it's a good race or not, but in the scope of things, like it looked like track position was hugely important if you were out front. Which I don't know if that's a dirt's fault or if it's a car thing or if it's just like these guys were good, deal with it. I don't know.
Yeah. Outside of like the last stretch of the race where everybody kind of just forgot how to drive, which seems to be a trend. I enjoyed it. I thought it was all right. So it was a cool little novelty race. So
yeah,
NASCAR got fed up with those cautions too, right? Like,
yeah,
NASCAR just stopped throwing cautions for cars spinning. It was great. Ryan Blaney gets spun from second place, just in the middle of the field, no caution.
Yeah, it seemed like they would, and it wasn't totally consistent, but it seemed like they were more apt to throw it if the car was stuck backwards.
Yeah.
If the car was able to kind of spin it around and get going, they didn't throw it. Is it like I know it's, and I know that my opinion on this, it's like with asking for consistency. I get it. I get that. I also am totally okay with NASCAR being like, this is gonna suck. So let's stop. Let's rewind. Let's reevaluate when we're throwing these yellows because we're not gonna get the race done.
Yeah.
I think they could do with like letting the teams know that, and maybe they do. Maybe whoever is the race director comes over the radio and says like, "All right, show's got to get going." Yeah. Like if they don't do that, they should. But if they just start throwing yellows differently in the middle of the race, then that's a problem, you know. But I was okay with them changing up the cautions a little bit. It kind of really helped the flow of the race a lot.
Yeah, the only one that was weird was that you had multiple ones where they didn't throw a yellow, and then Kyle Busch spun, and then they threw it, which set up that like 6-lap run to the end, which was kind of weird. But yeah, I got no problem with NASCAR basically saying like, look, if it's on dirt and people are going to spin out, and if it's a single car and they get going, then why stop the whole race? So I'm all right with that. So yeah.
All right. So let's set you guys up for this one. Kyle Larson versus Ryan Preece. We got a Preece head in on this. That's probably not a good way to call your fan base, but big Ryan Preece head. You're a Preece head. That's Davey.
That's me.
And then we also got a Kyle Larson fan. So go ahead, guys, fight. I'm gonna just sit here and be on the outside of one of these stupid things.
Yeah, for once, right?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think it's generally like I generally like Kyle Larson. I think obviously he's extremely talented, but he does, you know, and this is something that Denny Hamlin said this, and it's something that I've noticed too. Like he does tend to put drivers in compromising positions, which he's allowed to do. He's absolutely allowed as a race car driver to do that. You know, it's not the cleanest thing in the world sometimes, but that's that's a part of racing, especially in NASCAR where contact is a little more accepted, and putting someone in a compromising position is kind of like the name of the game. Or it's maybe if this were IndyCar, it'd be a little more like naughty, but that also puts you in a position where if you kind of mess someone's race up doing it, you're gonna kind of get some get back, I think that's what happened. I really think the incident itself is like really minor. Preece got put in the wall. Preece put the guy who put him in the wall back in the wall, and it was only made worse. But when Kyle tried to like hard left in the straightaway and like wrecked himself, and that kind of made it a bigger deal. And the fact that it's Kyle Larson gets gaining a lot of focus. But I mean that's just in the words of our Joe's favorite driver, Joe Logano, that's just short track racing. So
yeah, no, I think you totally nailed it. Like it was just like, if you run somebody a certain way, and then you give them a shot to get back at you, then like they're gonna do that. And like The thing that's concerning to me is like this has happened a few times with Kyle. Like, I mean, prime example is Las Vegas last year when he ran Bubba into the fence and then Bubba hooked him.
Yeah.
And it's like his whole attitude from like the whole incident was he was like, "Oh, I didn't see what happened. I don't know what happened." And it was like, it's just one of those times where you need your spotter to not be totally biased and just be like, "Yeah, you kind of ran him into the fence there, Kyle." Because then when he finally does catch Preece again on the track, he's like completely blindsided by it, and it's like you shouldn't be in that position where you run somebody into the fence and then they're pissed off at you, and then you're like, "Oh, why is he hitting me?" It's like, well, because you ran him into the friggin' wall. That's why. So it's just dumb. It's got to be better.
Repeated behaviors tend to make me believe that Kyle Larson knows exactly what Kyle Larson's doing.
I think that's also fair.
I don't think this is he didn't know the 41. I think he's okay. You're either going to lift or you're going to go in the wall.
Because let's remember, Kyle Larson is a good race car driver. You know,
good race car drivers don't make mistakes like that.
Yeah,
a plethora of times here in the last year.
And obviously he's gonna play the like, I don't know what happened.
Oh, he's got to, right?
Because that's kind of his like persona. You know what I mean? So like.
Yeah, as somebody has pointed out too, is that Kyle Larson is like not a very confrontational driver. Like he's not the kind of guy who's going to get out and then run his mouth or try to fight you, as we saw in Las Vegas last year. So, yeah, and it's another thing too, where it's like he wrecked himself in the end. So like, I don't really think it needs to be a big deal because he ended up on the losing end of both things. So
yeah, I think a lot of like, especially his comment where like he said, I thought we would have got the F over it or whatever. I think a lot of that was probably because he probably got asked that question six times.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. Is like he got asked. I saw like 8 different reporters all posting like the same question worded a different way in his response, and so probably by the end of it, he's like, "Okay, I get it." So he's probably more pissed off at the reporters than he was at Ryan Preece.
And everyone was grumpy this weekend anyway, so.
Yeah, and that too.
It seemed like all the drivers were grumpy for.
I don't want to race on Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Hey, Hey, you guys on the internet, do you see that? You can be critical of somebody you like. Did you guys notice how you can do that? You should hold the people that you like to a higher standard.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Kick rocks. Damn it.
I'm on top of a giant rock right now.
He's doing it. He's doing it. He's learning. He's learning.
Look at him go.
Yeah, again, this is just something Kyle Larson does because, and I think I don't like it. I've never been a fan of when you get upset when someone does something you did to them. Never been a fan of that. Kind of lost a little bit of respect. Ain't the right word, but kind of Kyle Larson took a little bit of a sink on my list.
You expect him to be better, especially considering he's a champion now. So.
That's right. I think he's probably a little frustrated too.
Oh yeah, and it's all heat of the moment. Like he just wrecked out of a race that he probably thought he was going to win too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
Don't spin out by yourself then. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Get better.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I got no problem with how Ryan Preece reacted to it. So. Yeah. Whatevs.
Whatevs.
A lot of the drivers don't like that we're racing Bristol dirt. I know I think we've talked about this off camera, but I know it's my belief that a lot of it has to do with it being Easter Sunday. TV numbers came out, and this is the good thing about doing a podcast later in the week. TV numbers came out. They were worse than last year by almost 500,000.
Oh, jeez.
Sure.
So I think that can be wrong. That's off the old memory dial. But here we are. Do we like the Bristol dirt race on Easter weekend? I'm not a fan of it just because I understand like wanting to be family and family holiday and all that. I get it from the TV side though too, because there really isn't anything else on except baseball and the Masters and a bunch of other stuff.
I was gonna say the Masters is a pretty big pull.
There's nothing else on except for names things.
But
I was gonna say because NASCAR didn't used to historically race on Easter, did they?
No.
Yeah.
Last year was like the first time since the 80s or something, and the only reason they raced on Easter before that, in that race, that was the last time before last year, was it was a rescheduled race because it snowed at Richmond, and it was the only off weekend on the calendar. So
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like I don't mind Bristol dirt. It is kind of frustrating to lose a Bristol race, but I think there's also a lot of like serious revisionist history because I saw a lot of people being pissed off that Bristol was kind of a complete mess. Like every time they'd go there, it reminds me a lot of the like revisionist history of the Brickyard. So I don't know. It sucks that we have to lose a Bristol date, but I also like Cup on dirt because I think it's a cool new challenge. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, and I also hate I hate the idea that people call it a gimmick. I hate that people call it like these things.
Yeah,
As if
well, yeah, I'm guilty of saying that already.
no, and that's no, and that's fine. I'm talking about the people who are like, oh, it's just a gimmick. Like this is just nothing. Like it's a novelty, yes. A gimmick, I don't agree. I don't think it's a gimmick. It's not a gimmick to race on dirt. Like it's new, it's different, and it's challenging. It's not a gimmick. And there's like 3 or 4 things that I think that NASCAR could do to really turn around, I think, the public opinion on cup racing on dirt. You know, it really wouldn't take much. And excuse me, I just think like, especially when drivers are saying like, oh, that's, you know, whatever gimmick, blah blah blah. Like it's just drivers who are not good at it who are saying that. So like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's like their opinion doesn't matter.
I was gonna say I can't remember if this was before we recorded last week or or if we talked about it on the show, but it was when people were taking the Kyle Larson quote wildly out of context, where he said that we don't belong on dirt or something, referring to wanting to go back to paved Bristol, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, look at that! It's dirt racing's biggest ambassadors say we shouldn't be on dirt," and it's like that's literally not what he said. That's how I know you didn't watch the video. Because if you watch it, they ask him specifically about Bristol. So it really feels like, I mean, it's just a classic thing of like people don't like change. I think the Cup Series should be on dirt, especially considering dirt is such a huge part of like the ladder to move through stock car racing. I think there are some merits to the criticism of Bristol dirt as a dirt track rather than just it as like a nebulous concept.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
Yeah. So, but you know, that's people don't like to deal with things with more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's got to be either black or white for people, right? You can't look at things as like a whole thing and look at all the factors of it. So
I mean, we talked about this event the first year that it happened, and we said people that liked it, that said it was going to be good, going into it ended up liking it, and people that said it was going to be bad thought it was terrible. So, it's kind of been one of those things, like you said, it's just people have been stuck in their ways, black or white, and haven't really allowed for a gray area to develop there and your opinions on it. North Wilkesboro dirt, that's what we should do, because that would just make everyone go stupid. So, I'm all for it. Chaos.
Yeah.
I'm still holding out for the rain showers on All-Star Weekend.
It's gonna be crazy.
Do you know how mad? Do you know how mad
30
people are
years
gonna
of
be?
pent-up rage is gonna come out.
I can't wait. I want it so bad.
I just want NASCAR to stop being pissy with Tony Stewart and just go back to Eldora already.
Well, I don't like that SRX thing, so
yeah. Which, by the way, I don't understand. Maybe this is just me being a little narrow-minded, but I don't understand how people see SRX as like a direct competitor to like a NASCAR split. Because to me, SRX is just IROC, and like IROC was always like a cool novelty like sideshow thing. Like, I can't see
people
SRX
love
ever
drama.
become. Yeah, I can't see SRX ever becoming like, and this is not me condemning SRX. I think it's cool and I really like it, but I can't see it like rivaling NASCAR like IndyCar and kart.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'd agree.
Yeah, I don't see that happening either.
Yeah.
It's just NASCAR getting upset that someone's doing something cool and fun, I think.
Yeah.
Probably. Speaking of cool and fun, Joey Logano led like almost 150 or all the laps in the Bristol dirt truck race. That was cool and fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Do we even care about the truck race or?
There's a cool. I would say cool stat. It wasn't cool to watch, but the same 3 drivers finished 1, 2, 3 in both stages and the finish of the race. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The truck series is on a interesting, weird, and difficult trajectory.
Yeah.
Trajectory.
Trajectory.
I'm trying to think of anything else in that.
The trajectory.
Haley Deegan had a good night, and then she got shuffled out on like all the late yellows, which was lame. But
yeah,
that's about all I took away from it.
How much of a leash does she still have in Ford's eyes, do you think?
I don't know because
she's got to get her ass to Xfinity. Like pronto, because she ran decent in that one race that she did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's just what I'm hoping for. So, and I mean, it's 2 good runs in a row. So
building momentum. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I just I don't know. I thought I had more to say about that, but I don't know.
All right, guys, let's talk about penalties then.
Mm.
Because Kaulig Racing's penalty got upheld. Oh, hi, Bristol.
Hi, Bristol.
So it got reduced to 75 points. Mind you,
Basically upheld.
Basically upheld, especially compared to the Hendrick Motorsports one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin's penalty got upheld in full.
God.
Which I don't think... I listened to Denny's podcast because he did his little emergency thing. I don't think he understands where NASCAR's coming from completely. I think he's very much going, okay, well, I'm a victim of NASCAR being mean and stuff. I don't think he realizes that, him going out and saying that, oh, yeah, I didn't care. I didn't care. Just isn't a good look for a race car driver that drives a race car at very fast speeds to say. It's just not a good look, right?
Can you penalize someone for not having a good look, though?
Actions detrimental. You can't.
But do we agree that that's like, I'm not going to cuss to save you, Joe, but like, can we agree that that's stupid?
Yeah.
It's a bit ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah, we kind of touched on it last week. Like this is why I miss having like a Mike Helton like figure. I don't think that should be like
was there.
Yeah. It's like I don't mind, or I don't think it should have been a points penalty because like Denny kind of gave himself a points penalty by, like ruining his and Ross's race on the last lap. I think that's just a situation where you need somebody in charge to come like sit him down and be like, Denny, you're a 15-year veteran, like you're an ambassador of the sport, and we need you to handle this better. That's just my biggest beef with it, and I think that's the message they tried to send rather than just actually sending that message. So, and now, I don't know, it's just a mess. It just shows that like NASCAR doesn't know how to handle anything. So,
yeah, and the Kaulig stuff. I mean, it's been said to death. It's been talked about and re-talked about over and over again. At this point, they're obviously going to go to the final appeals person or whatever. If they're appealing it once more, which it seems like this is like a slightly different process, but still kind of the same like juice, So I'm interested to see how that's gonna look. But it's just, I mean, we can all agree. Blanket statement, kind of ridiculous, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it goes back to what Joe was saying when we were discussing this the other day. Is like, there are the circumstances for the way like that Hendrick and Kaulig got caught were different, but like Joe said, and like it's blatantly says in black and white in the rule book, if it's a modification of a spec part, then here's the penalty. So it's just so weird. Like maybe the appeals court is approaching it differently, but it doesn't look good to NASCAR when one team that famously gets away with it, and new team gets the hammer dropped on them.
That's why NASCAR is pissed.
Yeah.
They
rewrote the rule book.
Yeah.
Yes, they rewrote the whole appeals process.
They went, hey, guess what? If you cheat and we confiscate your parts, we're putting them on display again. So get bent.
I love. Awesome.
And then they also said that the appeals panel now has to publish their findings and their reasoning.
Yeah.
Going forward. So Don't make NASCAR look bad is the moral of the story here.
Yeah. Which I think that's the biggest thing too, is the appeals penalty likely looked at it like what we were talking about, and they were like, "Oh, here's why we don't think they should be penalized as much," and then didn't tell anybody about it
because they don't have to.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
Like, cool, NASCAR. Now it's your problem. You deal with it.
Pretty much.
It's so absurd.
You deal with the fact that 2 different panels of 3 people made different decisions. You deal with that fact and explain it to everybody.
Well, so what's even funnier about it is because Bowman and I think it's Byron got another penalty, didn't they?
NASCAR's pissed.
It almost seemed to me that like it was one of those things that maybe they turned a blind eye to, and they're like, "Oh, now we're gonna get you." It's just crazy. Oh my gosh. So
it's a fun little peek into like the intricate politics of the sport that we don't really get this. I mean, we get to see, and like we know it goes on. But we're seeing it's like the dirty laundry is getting aired a little bit more right now. I love it. I love the drama. It feels a little bit like the parts that I really like about Formula One, like still to this day.
That's why we need Drive to Survive NASCAR edition, right?
Oh my God, shut up.
That actually just reminded me. It's funny that you brought that up. The Drive to Survive effect that it's had on people is there's somebody was posting a clip from it was an F1 race where Gasly was like stuck behind Kimi Räikkönen and got lapped by his teammate Max Verstappen while he was out front dominating, and everybody's like, "What the hell, Gasly?" And then all of the replies were people like, "Oh my God, I can't believe Max was out there like gapping that super illegal Ferrari." And I was like, "They're all illegal. Every single car on the grid is cheated up. Just because Ferrari got caught doesn't mean Red Bull and Mercedes aren't doing it. Every team cheats." Hate it so much.
It's just some are a little smarter about cheating.
Yeah, you know what the difference between Hendrick, Gibbs, and Penske this year is? Hendrick got caught.
Well, and they're good.
Difference. Yeah, and they're really good. So everybody's looking at them through a microscope. Yeah. And if there's an uptick in performance during the summer, all eyes are going to turn on Gibbs. Guess who's the only team who lost a race last year to disqualification? Oh yeah, it was Gibbs. But Hendrick's the bunch of cheaters, aren't they?
Well, yeah, they are.
Yeah. I mean, you're not statistically not untrue, but they're not alone.
Yeah. I think it's about integrity in the sport, right? And William Byron obviously got away with just dumping the crap out of Denny Hamlin under caution last year.
The dumbest stuff.
And then it ended up costing Kyle Larson a spot in the playoffs where he would have went to the Final Four. Remember that? Yep. That's crazy.
I remember that happening. That was good. That was good times.
Then we could have had a split driver owner championship, so that would have been wild. But yeah, it's all weird. It's all weird. And it's not great. The Hendrick penalties from this past week are from Richmond are hilarious, and I love them.
It's so petty.
Because the other thing is it's an L1, so it's like a whole different thing. Yeah. Because that is an area you're allowed to modify for that wiper blade. So it's just funny because they're like, they went out of bounds by like a mil.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that like they're almost like keeping it in their back pocket. So like if they piss you off, they'll be like, all right, we'll just nab you for it. So it's like driving around without a front license plate. Like you're not going to get pulled over for it, but if you get pulled over for something else, you're also going to get ticketed for that.
Did you guys also see Hendrick's press release on it?
I did not see that.
So
I feel like I did, but I can't remember.
Said something along the lines of, we're just going to focus on things that actually make us faster on track, and we're not going to appeal this penalty. I was like, yeah, and you're still 40 points in the net, so shut up.
Damn.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because Chad Knaus, when they got caught with the louvers, said the exact same thing. Oh, those don't make us faster. Okay. Whatever you say, man.
Okay.
Nothing happens by accident when you have that much money and that good of machinery. I'm just saying.
Wait, you're telling me that Chad Knaus isn't a master at deception when it comes to cheating up a race car?
He's not even deceptive.
No, he's not.
I'm just thinking back to that famous clip of him leaning in Jimmy's window and telling him if you win, you got to crack the back bumper.
Make sure you burn it down. Make sure you blow out the rear tires.
That full clip is so funny because Jimmy's like,
Yeah.
really?
And you just
Really?
see, like, you can read his body language even through his helmet, like, looking over at the camera, like,
like-
Chad.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Davey wanted to talk about this a bit. Teams supposedly boycotted their quarterly or monthly meeting with NASCAR. Sounds like it was out of the idea that NASCAR and the teams weren't really going to have any productive discussions anyways.
Yeah.
Still not a good look when that gets out there in the press. Any thoughts?
It's big vote of no confidence right now. It seems like where we were almost kind of like at a point where the teams in NASCAR were in agreement about a deal being done with like the with the charter agreement and the TV rights and blah 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 yada yada yada, all that stuff that's been going on for like a year now. Seems like there's not a lot of confidence that we're any closer than we've ever been. It seems like the general opinion of at least one of the owners is that it's a little further away. I would assume that the teams, I wouldn't say boycotting the meeting, but not showing up to the meeting, I guess, is like I said, vote of no confidence. Doesn't bode well.
Do we know what was going to be discussed that they were boycotting, or?
I think that meeting is like a regular quarterly meeting that
It's just
they
to
have.
update ratings and earnings and
Right.
Okay.
But they felt like the statement I think was like, we don't feel that this is going to be productive and this is going to set us back in the other discussions regarding yada yada yada, this, that, the other thing. Basically, this is a waste of our time. Let's talk about the stuff that actually matters.
let's talk about the charters and continuing that agreement. Let's talk about revenue share. Let's talk about all this and that.
Yeah.
The charters thing is just funny in my. It's not funny because if that, whatever happens with that, people are going to lose jobs either way.
Yeah.
So it's not funny from that perspective, but it's funny from the fact that you had all these people buying these things off of prospective income, and now that income might not even be guaranteed.
Yeah. This was I saw people talking about it in the USRL server, and I couldn't chime in because I was at work, but people would be like, oh, charters are great. What are you talking about? Like, oh, they suck. Once again, it's not just a black and white thing because it's going to mean different things to different people. Let's say if you're a race team that already has a charter, it's awesome. But if you're trying to get into the sport, it kind of sucks ass. And also if you're NASCAR and you're like, wow, okay, this hasn't really worked out as we planned because Rick Ware still has 2 of them. And Live Fast has one. So it and people were talking about it too, where it's like they've kind of backed themselves into a corner where the only way you're ever going to be able to get rid of charters if you are NASCAR without lawsuits up the ass is you're going to have to buy them all off of the teams because they were an investment, right? Like you can't revoke them and then just expect NASCAR teams to be like, oh, okay. Because it's like, nah, teams like, how much did Call League pay for their 2? Like
13 apiece, 10, 13, yeah.
So you're going to tell me that Call League is just going to be fine being 26 million in the red on a lost investment? Like, nah. If NASCAR pulls that or adds more, guess what? Call League's $13 million charters are now worth less because there's more. It's supply and demand. So, yeah, it's sticky, and this is something that maybe we all saw coming.
Yeah, franchises in racing doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Yeah.
No.
Especially when
time,
it's not a lucrative business to be a race team, as it turns out.
Yeah, especially like it was a bad idea to start with, but now it's started and you're locked in. Like
yeah,
but you're locked in for another year.
Well, what I'm saying is like you're locked in. Like the decision to keep chart. Like they need to keep like.
You have to make that decision, is what you're saying. Because you're not locked into the charters.
I'm more talking. No, I mean I feel like you kind of are though. Like what? Like who's gonna be happy about losing their, in Hendrick's case, probably like 40-50 mil in like just like charter money. Like
did the teams pay for the charters that were assigned them at the start?
Or they didn't pay for them, but I mean they have a value. They have a thing that is of value that the race team is worth.
Right.
It's worth that to Call League, who spent 26 million. It's worth that to.
I get that. I'm just saying from a perspective of, hey, we set up this deal, right? We have a charter system. If NASCAR didn't make these teams pay in and pay a franchise fee to join the sport, air quotes join, right? Because they're already a part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the legal ramifications there are, because if NASCAR didn't say you have to pay for it, and it was the teams going about saying you have to pay me for it, that's a whole different set of circumstances, right?
Yeah, because I think that's the interesting point about it too, is like so obviously there's some sort of legal agreement that guarantees X number of teams their charters and all the conditions that you have to keep them. But I wonder like what kind of exit clauses are written into this agreement, because like it's like what I was saying is if they were to revoke them, like teams like Hendrick are going to take them to court and be like, hey, we were given these under the impression that not only is it, a franchise, but it's an investment. And like this is potentially like $100 million that we're out of now. Or potential $100 million that we're out of. I don't know.
Yeah. Again, it's more so about if NASCAR made these teams pay in and made them pay a franchise fee to get it, which I don't think they did, because the first year was 2016.
Yeah.
And all the charters are with the teams. NASCAR didn't make them pay in for it. It's kind of a set done deal, right? Like it's on these team owners. It's on their hands to a degree. It's on the Race Team Alliance, and we all know how I feel about the Race Team Alliance. It's kind of on them for saying that these charters are worth. And I understand the business of it. I understand that a charter is worth X amount of dollars because I can make X amount of dollars running 36 races a year, 38 events a year. The frustrating part is if you're NASCAR and you gave these things out for free in the first place.
Yeah.
And then now you have teams saying, well, we can't make enough money. We can't make enough money. We can't make enough money. Because the way I saw the charter agreement in the first place was NASCAR bending over backwards for the teams, giving them something, right?
Yeah.
To avoid teams being like, oh, we're out of this. We're done. I'm Roger Penske. I don't want NASCAR anymore. I'm Rick Hendrick. I don't want NASCAR anymore. I don't know.
I think it's more just like I dislike charters. Like I understand why people are pro charter. I hate the mindset that like, oh, if you're racing cup, then like you should absolutely belong there. That's not how it works. Not all 40 cars are going to be equal on speed. Like, and then you get situations where an MWR goes out of business, and who's there to replace them, right? So, in their wake, you get 8,000 J Robinson cars at the track every week running 35th. It's not a lucrative business to be a part of because you're not guaranteed to make money like an NFL team, like there's not revenue sharing. So it's just weird. I don't know. It when it comes to something like motorsports where all, it's mostly the teams building their own stuff and providing their own equipment, right? You can't, it doesn't make sense for me to put these massive fences around allowing people to try their hand at it. I've hated that aspect of F1 for years. I can't stand how F1 is gatekeeping Andretti, one of the most famous names in motorsports, out of there because the other teams don't want to race them. It's so stupid. And it's the same thing. This is another kind of not black and white, not saying charters are good or bad area of this, is you've given teams basically leverage to gatekeep other teams out of NASCAR in a sense, because like Trackhouse got lucky that they got their 2 charters, right?
Well, Just Mark's just blocking Nasty.
Yeah, imagine if that sale doesn't go through. Like, where is Trackhouse now? That's a potential powerhouse team that is just kind of being gatekept out of tens of millions of dollars a year because the other teams don't want to give up their little franchise things, which I get. Why would you want to give up a competitive advantage? But it's the sanctioning body's job to make sure everything goes on as fairly and balanced as possible. So, I don't know.
And the reason I insinuated that, like, you're locked, obviously not contractually locked in, not literally locked in, The reason I feel like you're locked into the charters now is like, do we really want to go back to when the only thing a NASCAR team had of value, if like they wanted to get out of business, was like a shop and a bunch of like spare parts? Is that what we want? 'Cause I don't think anybody wants that. You know, if anyone like
Yeah.
I mean, like NASCAR teams have no value.
Yeah,
So,
especially now that you don't have like a back stock of old cars that you could even build into other shit. So
To be fair, the cars that you do have are supposed to be reusable.
yeah,
And they should hold their value better than the cars from 5-10 years ago. If that's the case, we will never know.
yeah, I also think in the grand scheme of things, that's negligible.
That's fair. That's fair.
Anyway, sticky situation. Glad I don't have to deal with it.
No kidding.
Glad that's not my decision. Thank God.
racing BMX is way cheaper,
Jeez.
you guys. You should try that.
It's just like tires and a bike.
I paid under $600 for my race bike, and I haven't touched anything on it in 2 years. So it seems like a pretty good investment to me.
That's your charter.
Yeah,
You know what-
yeah, true.
You know what else was an investment?
What was that, Joe?
Breaking your leg.
Chase Elliott's healthcare.
Hey,
Invest in healthcare so you can fix your leg. Chase Elliott's back this weekend at Martinsville. I am
Okay.
immensely disappointed because I really wanted to see what Josh Berry would do.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like the worst timing for it.
yeah.
Do we think he
But-
runs the whole race?
Yeah, well, who cares?
That's fair.
I wonder like what condition his legs in. I mean, Chase Elliott's an athlete, so he's gonna heal faster and be prepared for this stuff more. But like
Mhm.
Martinsville of all places it's a pretty tough place to come back with a broken leg. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I imagine Josh Berry will be on call, but I feel like it's gonna be a situation where he's just gonna grit it out. So
Yeah. I mean,
NASCAR's.
I was good.
I was gonna say NASCAR's propaganda machine is out in full force too for Chase.
Oh, they are going crazy.
yeah, they are. I've been on Twitter for like 10 minutes today, and it's all Chase Elliott.
He's back. Watch his return.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then
I
meanwhile,
hope
I'm
you're-
just like, oh, I'm gonna miss Josh Berry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
it stinks.
Yeah, he had a great night until he got wrecked on the last lap at Bristol. So
But we get to listen to a lot of deadpan interviews about how he's happy to be back.
yeah, man, I'm just happy for my guys.
Which again, I'm sure he is, but the interviews are gonna suck, and that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's happy to be back. Like, I'm sure, like, listen, I understand. He's probably a passionate guy. The interviews is not who he really is. Blah blah yada yada yada. I don't care. The interviews are just funny. It's just funny
Yeah.
at this point. I get a kick out of it.
Yeah, Josh and Jordan, they just did a great job in the car. They really kept the team together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it, Chase. Yeah, Josh did a great job. It's happy to be back. This Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro drive stanky leg real fast, lead foot on a gas pedal, throttle pedal thing. Happy to be back in Martinsville. And then like they'll come to him after the race. They'll ask him how it was, and he's gonna like do the exact same
Oh.
interview that I just did. Oh, he's kidding.
I'm just hanging out up here.
There's audio texture.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm just filming something real quick. So, yeah.
Someone's in trouble.
No, I'm on public property. It's just a lady coming up here to shoot photos or something, and she was like, "Oh, hey."
Oh.
I love the audio texture. That was good. Some good audio texture from her voice. Yeah,
Oh, did it pick her up?
yeah, a little bit.
Oh, thanks.
That's the fifth different person to be on the Fake Racers podcast.
Make sure you get a permission sheet from her.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a shotgun mic. It's supposed to pick up a bunch of stuff. So Yeah.
That was awesome, man. That's my
She-
favorite part
I
so
saw
far.
her walking by. I was like, "Is she gonna notice me over here?" And then she just like turned and waved at me, and I was like, "Oh, hey." She's like, I thought I saw somebody slip up here.
That's
I was
crazy.
like, yeah, I'm just filming something. So
That's awesome.
anyway,
IndyCar's at Long Beach this weekend. Are you going?
Oh, yeah.
Are you?
it's pretty far away. So no.
Aw, why not?
Well, I better start riding my bike soon then, because it's like a 7-hour drive. So
Is the car broken down?
I was making a joke because I rode my bike.
It was a
up here,
joke
so.
because his bike was there.
Oh yeah, but anyways,
The answer is no. So
who's your pick?
I don't
Stingray Rob? Is that your pick?
it's gone pretty bad the first 2 times, so I think I'm gonna change it up.
Oh,
Yeah. I can't. I'm too far away from my computer, so I can't look up drivers. So I'm
just pick a number then.
Give me Rossi. I'll take Rossi.
He's in the 6.
That's
Good question.
a good question.
I think he's in the 6.
Is
Dave-
it one of them McLarens?
Davey, who you got?
Oh God, who cares?
You gonna pick Jimmy?
McLaughlin.
Oh, he's gonna pick Scotty. I'm gonna
Scotty
take
Mac.
Newgarden because I'm basic like that.
Yeah.
All right,
It's
trucks.
a triple header. God damn.
Who you got in trucks? Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, they're both racing.
What track are we at?
Martinsville.
Oh, that's right. Can you guys hear that motorcycle?
No, but I did hear a car earlier.
It's literally way down there on the freeway, and I was like, I wonder if it'll pick it up.
I'm taking
for
Kyle
truck-
Busch, so I'm boring.
Wow.
I'm gonna take give me Grant Onfongle. There we go.
Grant and finger for Matt.
Good old Grant Finglonger.
You got Davey.
Where'd my trucks list go? Oh, there it is. Excuse me. We're gonna go with I'm gonna do it for the shout out to Brad Perez. We'll give it Brad Perez. He's in the 20.
Hey, I forgot he's running this week.
First oval start for Brad. Davey, who you got for Xfinity then? All right, Martinsville too. It's triple header.
Gotta go Parker Kligerman.
Matt,
Josh Berry.
how'd I know? Give me Ryan Truex in the 19.
I am extremely predictable.
All right, Cup Series, Martinsville 400. How we feeling? Feeling good? Who we got?
You go first, Joe. Wait, no. Matt goes first.
Oh, I'm not ready. Who won Martinsville last year? We had
Byron
Bell
and Bell.
That's right. I'm gonna try to pick outside of Hendrick. He's pretty good there last year. Wait, no, because they've been pretty bad on flat tracks. I was gonna pick Brad, but that's a bad idea.
He was good at Phoenix.
Oh, was he? Okay, I'll
And he
take
finished
Brad.
top 10 at Richmond. So
Okay.
Hey. But don't
Okay, I'll
forget, you got
take
disqualified.
Yeah.
Disqualified
Well,
in the
that's what I
fall
was thinking.
race.
I was like, oh, he was pretty good at Martinsville in the fall and got DQ'd, and I was like, oh, but he's also been really bad at all the other flat tracks. But yeah, no, I'll take Brad. So
Davey, who you got?
I'm gonna try not to do the homer thing because he had a really who cares? Ryan Preece ran pretty good at Bristol Dirt. This
Really
is
good at
kind of the
Flash.
track that you would
This is
expect
his
to-
last chance to win a race for the playoffs.
I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far.
We got New Hampshire coming up.
Oh, that's right.
It's a good.
He's
point,
really good
actually.
at the Clash too. So
But yeah, I'm gonna go Ryan Preece.
All right, I will take Bubba Wallace. I want to have
Not a bad
fun.
pick either.
We got fun picks for Cup.
Oh yeah.
I got
Okay.
too serious in the
I was just thinking of all the
trucks.
all the Fox promo stuff, like Ryan Preece versus Kyle Larson. Is this the birth of a new rivalry? No, it's
No.
not.
Probably not, man.
No, because
I would be
41
very-
runs like in the 30s or back half of the 20s, unfortunately.
I would be very surprised if these two guys were like still pissed off at each other a week from now.
I hope they are. I don't know where Ryan Preece gets off thinking he's such a tough guy.
God, the bait is so real this week.
Nothing?
What? Huh?
Nothing.
What?
Oh my god.
I didn't hear it.
Can Jimmy Johnson actually run a race team?
I mean, he technically is.
Hey, the first
There is a
year in
ra-
a race team. Wait, hold on. Before I
There
say
is a
this.
race team that he is currently running, so
He's got to make sure he hasn't run a race team before.
it is
No.
not untrue.
Hold on.
Oh,
No, you
geez,
guys are
I'll
good.
think
You
about-
guys can waffle some. It's all good.
Oh, I don't know. I'm running out of things to say.
Oh,
So.
okay, that's fine.
What kind of tree is that behind you? I know you're a big arborist.
That's it's an aspen, and you can tell it's an aspen because of the way it is.
Okay.
Mm. Hey, I'll give you this one to chew on here, Bubba. In 2 years, RFK cars haven't made the damn Clash since Brad took over. Both the Jimmy cars made the Clash when he took over this year, so
They did.
that's right.
Wow.
They both have.
See, you come at me with bait, I
Uh-huh.
come at you with stats and facts.
Well, I'm just gonna
Facts
wait
and
to see
logic.
if one of the legacy cars can win a race this year. How about that?
I'll wait to see if one of the RFK cars can too.
Well, they did last year, so.
Okay.
The worst part is I'm a fan of both of these teams, and this is awkward.
Yeah, I know, right? That's why I'm like, why are you fighting me? Like, we're on the same side. Like, what is going on?
Just want Eric Jones to have better looking merch and more sponsors, man. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they hired that one doofus and he's gone, so.
Doofus.
Yeah, what'd he do?
Do you
Nothing.
know what the worst part is? I'm pretty sure he came from RFK. Like, a few years back. Like, I think he might have been there, like, before Brad got there.
Yeah, look at that. RFK is getting better now. Look at that. Imagine that. See that? See what I'm saying? It's all like I don't like we're on the same side.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
Forehead.
thanks. Anyways, folks, can't thank you enough for tuning in this week. For the Fake Racers podcast goes Nature with Matthew Steelman. There he is. He's out in the world. Let us know where you want Matt to podcast from next. Let us know in the chat or in the comments down below. Be much
Like a
appreciated.
much lower budget version of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
There we go.
How far can Matt pedal away from his house?
This and more at 11.
I'm gonna film on top of the train tunnel that's over here, so like once during the episode, you're just gonna get absolutely blasted with train noise.
That'd be perfect.
Just mid-episode. Just like, oh, hang on, guys. Oh, God.
The commitment to the bit is unreal. Remember, you can follow Matt at msealman51 on Twitter. He's had some pretty good tweets this week, I would have to say.
Been cooking up some spicy memes.
There you go.
Oh my god.
You can follow Davey at Davey Hazard on Twitter, at D7H5 on Instagram, and at D7H5 with an ER at the end on Twitch. Hopefully Davey does some more iRacing streaming because that's always fun to watch.
I need to.
USORL's going iRacing next year in the Cup Series. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's big news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonder if I'll have to follow. That's how you tease something. Folks, remember you can follow us at Johto Network, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We try to post content that's unique. Keyword there is try. So give us a follow, give us a like, give us a subscribe. It's always much appreciated. Of course, JTN2 here with the full version of the Fake Racers podcast on YouTube. And then you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. Leave a rate, comment, review. That's always appreciated too. If you hate the show and you want to tell us how to get better, you can email at Johto Network or just jotonetwork@gmail.com. Weird.
Email Thomas Bordeaux at gmail.com.
tbracing57@gmail.com.
I better see at least one touchgrass comment on this week's episode. So.
Email TB Racing. That's TB Racing. Racing spelled normally 57@gmail.com for your complaints and suggestions to improve the podcast.
We'll be sure to read all those and work on it.
Yep,
folks,
that's right.
again, can't thank you enough for watching. Hope to see you next week. Next week might look a little weird. Be on the lookout for that. See you guys next week on the Fake Racers podcast. Bye-bye. Haha.
Bye.
Fucking